Welcome back. Yesterday, we worked on your general limits and learning how to alchemize them at a deep unconscious level. And now, over the next few days, we're going to go deeper and deeper into some specific limits that can be really challenging for people to shift because they require some deeper attention. So the limit that we're going to be focusing on today is fear. And I chose to start here because fear is really one of the biggest limits and challenges that often stops people from moving forward the most. And in this lesson, you're going to understand how to handle fear and also how to release deep fear, which can be showing up in a way that really doesn't serve you at all. So when we start with this, it's important that we understand fear and understand why fear shows up, because the goal is not to have no fear at the end of the day. We're actually wanting to have fear in our human experience because fear keeps us safe. Fear is actually a good thing. It's required as a natural human response to keep us alive and keep us breathing. If you walked to an edge of the cliff and you feel a little bit of fear, that's a good thing because that's your system telling you, hey, if you step off this cliff, you might die. But here's the thing with fear is that when fear's coming up in an attempt to keep you safe, but it's showing up in a seemingly uncontrollable or unruly way, that's when it can stop us moving forward with our manifestations. So people think that fear is something within them that they have no control over, but actually you get to choose your experience with fear. And I'm here to let you know that it's possible to actually recode fear so that you can have a different experience of it. Now, in order to do this, what's important is that we start working with what I call the root cause of fear. And this is actually the very first moment in time that your system started generating a fear response. Now, if you are trying in your life just to not feel fear or ignore the fear when it comes up, this doesn't really create long-lasting change. It's important that we go right to the root. So it's a little bit like a tree. And if you have a tree and it's growing fruit and it's growing leaves and you just trim the leaves around the tree, the fruit and the leaves are eventually going to grow back. But if you take that tree and you rip it out of the ground, that tree is done. That tree is not going to grow again. So this is exactly what happens when we start working at a deep, energetic, and unconscious level to get into the root cause of fear. And we go in and we release with ease that very first moment, that very first experience where your system created a fear response. So before we go deep into the activation for this, your first piece of soul work is to journal, and make sure you do this before you do the activation so you're clear on this. I want you firstly to journal and get really real with fear. Ask yourself, how does fear show up for you? What is your current experience with fear? And then, if you were to have a different, more powerful experience when fear came up, what would be going on instead? You get to craft your relationship with fear. You get to play with your experience of fear. And what if fear came up and you were able to dance with it and move forward in spite of it? How would that specifically look for you? So make sure you do that. And then for the second piece, we're going to go deep into this activation, which is going to be working deeply at an unconscious level, showing your system how to get rid of and release and clear this root cause of fear and instead install a different experience of it. Now remember, the goal is to not be fearless and then have no fear ever again. No, you want the fear, but it doesn't show up in a way after this activation where it consumes you, where it controls you, where you have an unruly experience that stops you from moving forward. Instead, when you go in and you clear this root cause, you'll notice in your consciousness in the future, you'll have a micro choice point where something happens, and you'll have a micro choice point where you go, oh, do I want to be scared of this or not? Oh, do I want to experience fear? Or, I'm experiencing a little bit of fear, but I can handle that. I can work with that. I can play with that. Instead of the fear just kicking in and you feel like you can't even do anything in your day or your life or move forward because the fear is so intense. So how this works in this activation, it's almost like having a string of pearls. And you have a string of pearls, and what we're going to do is go to the very bottom pearl on the string, right? And then you're going to basically cut just above where that first pearl is, and then what happens? All the pearls start falling away. So we've seen this happen when you go through this process and you go deep into the root cause and you clear and release the energy that has been stuck from this root cause, this very first experience of fear. We've noticed that all of a sudden, all the other experiences of fear through your life in the past and also in your future, they lose their charge. Have you ever noticed where fear has come up for you and it's not even logical? And you even think to yourself, why do I feel so much fear right now? Your mind knows this is something that you don't even need to be scared about. It's completely illogical. But that's because it's not the mind creating it. That's because it is now what we call stacked fear. Stacked time after time after time after time to someone says one little thing and you have a full fear response in your body. That no longer needs to be your reality when you go in through this activation and clear out this root cause, this very first base experience. So, as always, this is simple and easy for you. All you need to do is be guided through this process, be unattached, and simply allow yourself to have an open mind and go deep. So let's get started into this activation. Once you've done that first piece of soul work, come back to this and let's dive right in. So go ahead and sit or lie in a comfortable position, allowing yourself to gently close your eyes, turning inwards right now, centering yourself with your breath and allowing yourself to lean into your intention of clearing out the root cause of fear, that very first experience through your unconscious reality. Remembering that we are working through the unconscious mind. So things may not be logical, they may not make sense in this activation, but you're here, you're open, you're choosing to be available and surrender to the power and the magic of this activation. Allow a red laser beam to shoot down from your tailbone, anchoring you and grounding you into the crystalline core of the earth, and simultaneously allow a golden laser beam of light to shoot up through your crown, connecting you right now to your unique soul star, allowing you to be guided, grounded, present, protected, and supported, heaven on earth embodied right here, right now, as you surround yourself with a ball of golden white light, dropping any energies that don't serve you out of your system, and calling in your divine guidance, beings of light of the highest vibration, divinely assigned to assisting you in clearing out and purifying that root cause of fear, that very first experience of fear. That's right. Beautiful. Now I'm about to ask you some questions and simply allow the very first answer that comes to you to be your answer. Even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not logical, I will ask the question and then I will say 1, 2, 3. And at that time, you allow yourself to receive this answer. You can say it in your mind or you can say it out loud. Either way is perfect. Here's the first question. If you were to know the very first time that you experienced fear, was it before, during, or after your birth? 1, 2, 3. Perfect. If it was before your birth, that very first time that you experienced fear, how many lifetimes ago was it? 1, 2, 3. First answer that comes to your mind. Perfect. If that's you, stay with that timestamp. If the answer was during your birth, then stay with that. And if it was after your birth, if you were to know, what age were you between the ages of 1 and 7? 1, 2, 3. Good. That's your answer if that was you. Beautiful. So now go ahead and simply tune into your body, leaning into your intention, to release the root cause of fear. And I want yourself to go ahead and now float up out of your body, up above now. And I want you to take yourself back, all the way back to that exact moment in time, wherever that answer was for you, allowing yourself to float back in your past. Your unconscious knows where to take you. Float all the way back, 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 until you were there, hovering just above that event, just before that event, and looking down on that event. That's it. This event is the very first time that your system experienced a fear response, the root cause of all other fear that has been stacked in your reality. And I want yourself to simply notice anything that you notice which is going on. You may see a specific event. You may feel it. You may hear it. You may see, feel, or hear nothing. Either way is absolutely perfect. What counts is that your unconscious has taken you there. Beautiful. So hovering just above this moment in time, just before this moment in time, looking down on this moment, go ahead and notice that your system triggered a fear response because it felt that it was unsafe. Fear is something that when stored through the body, it can accumulate and even cause health problems in the future if we have these stuck, unruly emotions that are not processed and that get stacked up. Go ahead and allow yourself to remember that this fear does not serve you. Go ahead and allow yourself to remember that it is safe to release this fear. And from this perspective, looking down on this moment in time, from this perspective, with these positive learnings, go ahead and allow yourself to release that fear. That's it. Remembering that your system can hold on to the positive learning, or your system can hold on to the stuck fear, but it cannot do both. Once again, from this place, this space, this intention, hovering just above this event, just before the event, looking down on the event, go ahead and simply allow yourself to release the fear. That's it. Good. From this place of awareness, now noticing that this fear is released, go ahead and now float down into the event. So you're now down into the event, surrounded by the event right now, and allow your system to notice what is different. Notice that in the past, there may have been deep, unruly, unwarranted levels of fear. Notice what is different. Maybe there's a different thought. Maybe something different is happening. Maybe you make a different choice in that moment. Notice what is different. Good. Have a quick check-in in this event right now and ask yourself, are you still able to feel that fear, or has it just gone? Good. If it's gone, perfect. And if you can still feel it a little bit, once again, go ahead and request that your system now accepts what there is to learn and then chooses to release the fear now. Good. That's right. And now go ahead and now float up above this event once again. So you're hovering just above the event, looking down on this event. And from that perspective, at a soul level, across every single realm, reality, and dimension, go ahead and choose that. Choose this new relationship with fear. Good. And with so much gratitude, go ahead and gently begin to float all the way back to now. That's it. And when you're hovering above now, remembering that you now have a new experience with fear, now begin to float out into your future. Wherever that is for you is absolutely perfect. And go ahead and float all the way out into your future. And take yourself to an unspecified event in your future. An event where in the past you would have felt unwarranted or unruly amounts of fear. And simply go ahead and now notice what is different. That's right. Notice how your relationship with fear has now shifted. Good. Beautiful. And with so much gratitude, gently begin to float all the way back to now until you are hovering above now, coming back down into now, back into the space, back into your body, back into your grateful heart, grounding and anchoring and solidifying this in, having so much gratitude for your guides, so much gratitude for the alchemist that you are, and so much gratitude to your newfound relationship with fear that you get to play with. That's it. As you come back into your breath, gently opening your eyes, and welcome back. Beautiful. Well, congratulations. That is a super deep process. And your next layer of soul work is to share your breakthroughs from this lesson and from this activation with the tribe. We want to witness you. We want to celebrate you. We want to hear and see about your new relationship with fear. What came up for you? Maybe you saw some really interesting things during this process. Maybe things just feel very different. Please remember there's an integration with this process, so take it easy. Give yourself what you need. And we're talking about another very powerful process tomorrow, going deeper into a limit that can stop so many people. So get ready, because we're diving even deeper. See you on the next lesson.